9 on the dot. Tim Kelly, iMessage.
What are we talking about?
And we are live. Welcome everybody to Sling'N podcast. I'm Kent, and my guest tonight, is Mr. Zach Cox from Apache Solutions. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, Zach. Hi, everybody. What are we talking about?
I don't know. Tim Kelly distracted me with a text message, and my friends are more important than my podcast, so I'm checking that out at the moment.
That's all right. You go ahead and do that. I'm going to play with this because I think
distract shotguns. It's cool.
Is what we're talking about tonight. And
that is a Turkish shotgun, it appears.
It is. Let's go to the real girl.
Oh, look at that beautiful Mossberg 940 Pro Tactical that has. Oh, boy.
She butter.
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we are talking about boomsticks. Boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck, all that good stuff. We're talking about shotguns. And who better to talk about shotguns than Mr. Silly T-Shirts himself, Zach.
And also, I'm really balancing here.
We know.
Never trust a fart, everybody.
Zach's got an awesome T-shirt on. For those of you who end up listening to the audio later, you won't get to see this amazing T-shirt, but it's pretty funny. It's a chicken with a broken egg, and it says "Never trust a fart."
It's a chicken. So,
Zach, you've been a shotgun guy for exactly how long?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough question.
All right.
Well, technically, I grew up shooting shotguns.
And there's never a more confidence-inspiring statement made by a person on a range than "I grew up doing this."
Yeah.
Right.
No, I really did. So I did a lot of competition stuff like that. Skeet shooting, and so I grew up. My dad's a pastor, and we did all kinds of skeet shoots and turkey shoots and all this stuff growing up, and super loved it. Worked at a camp, outdoor wilderness camp, when I was younger, and I was a skeet shooting instructor, but never really did the whole shotgun as a self-defense tool, even though I knew it, but I didn't know like the ins and outs and the depth of it. I would say I've really dove into the shotgun over the past year, like really, really dove in. Actually, it's probably been about a year and a half, 2 years. But yeah, it's probably been about that long, and I've been balls to the wall on it. It's been a lot of fun. So what about you, Kate?
So
you grew up
other than the first of all, I'm terrible at skeet shooting. Oh, we have a special guest.
There he is.
Hey, can you hear me?
God, you look so good. How do you make everything look so pretty in the background?
He's a professional.
I know he is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you sound so good too.
When the Indians take over, they take over. Look who showed up next. It's Frank. So hi, Frank.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hello, Master
Frank Horvath from Apache Solutions has also joined us. So just to fill you in, all we doing is talking shotguns tonight. That's it. If it ain't about shotguns, I don't want to hear it.
Yep.
And you guys are delving into the gauge a little bit. So we're just talking about our experience on shotguns. Zach, to answer your question, the first gun I ever hunted with was a little 20 gauge single shot, right? My dad had me out with that.
Heck yeah.
I don't know. He figured somehow I could kill myself less with a 20 gauge with buckshot than anything else. I don't know if that logic really stacks up, but that was the deal.
Sure.
And I grew up running around hunting rabbits and squirrels and all kinds of stuff with shotguns. And just honestly, it was probably like the first thing I really learned to shoot halfway decent in terms of a real gun, other than like the little 22 thing as a little kid. And I am the worst. I mean, the worst aerial skeet shooter. I can whack a goose out of the air with like a 36-inch barrel Remington 1100, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to be fat and slow flying for me to hit it out of the air with a shotgun. I will tell you that.
Sounds about right.
But other than that, and then of course I got into the gauge, like I don't want to say tactical wise, but defensive shotgun stuff and stuff like that. Probably 7 or 8 years ago, I started really messing with it in earnest. And probably about 4 years ago, I started saying yes when students would ask for private lessons with shotgun.
Sure.
To date, though, Green Mountain Defense has not yet taught a group shotgun class. So
We were talking about that today, bro.
I know. If an announcement was to be made on a podcast about a group shotgun class, it might be a first. Coming. Yeah, we're going to do one. I've been inspired to get off my arse by you two dudes who got off your arses and have put on a nice little – you got a nice little successful thing going here with your workshops. We'll talk about that. But what about you, Frank? What got you into the gauge?
Yeah, I had to unmute myself. For me, I didn't want you guys hearing my clickety clack in the background. So for me, again, starting off pretty early, my grandfather had gave me a Mossberg 500. And I remember clear as day, it had just a ton of bird shot, dove shot that was at the house. And, he had it stockpiled back. I put a hurt on that stuff. So, I mean, I was probably, I don't know, 14, 15, something like that. I remember setting up cans with a 12 gauge shotgun, only 3-4 yards away from me, and big circle, and I was just shredding dirt and cans and all this other kind of fun stuff. And at the time, I thought it was a badge of honor. My entire shoulder, part of my breastplate, all of this was just black. It was just going to town on it. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. And as I got a little bit older, I would shoot a little bit more and do dove hunts and quail and things like that. And because I had a couple of cool friends, and then ended up just falling in love with a gauge. Went and took some classes, several classes with various instructors, and Zach came back from shotgun instructor, I think it was Tom Given shotgun instructor, and was just absolutely on fire. So he decided to start developing his own content, and all this stuff is all Zach's class. I am 100% his AI. I was his AI in the last class, and Zach's got the goods. You got the goods, bro.
That's really cool. So,
hey, Frank, did you see my shirt?
I did. I like it.
Okay, good. I didn't know if you saw it yet.
Yep, like it a lot.
Continue, Kent.
Continue. So we obviously both of our organizations, Green Mountain Defense and Apache, spend a lot of time defensive application of firearms, right? We teach people to shoot for reals. Not offering skeet style competitive shotgun shooting, at least not yet, although that wouldn't surprise me either, Zach. So, just get
she coming.
Just get old Timmy to give you a field up there and a couple 5 stands and about $30,000 worth of throwers. Well, you never know. Frank could probably plug something into a Raspberry Pi and have
I know a guy
all over the place.
I know a guy. We make this happen.
He'll be like,
right. Birds
He'll figure out
everywhere.
Oh, we need to say hey to Kip.
Kip,
hello, Kip.
Hey, buddy. What's up, little man?
He won't stop saying hi to you. Hey, Kip.
Stop saying hi. Hi, Kip.
Thank you for the birthday video. I really appreciate you, pal.
Kipley, you're the best. Such a good little guy, man.
Super.
Well, now I can't stop thinking about Kipley. Anyway,
oh man, we had so much fun. Oh, we need to tell him real quick before we continue shotguns about the river trip.
I saw the river trip.
Yeah.
I was jealously scrolling Instagram, realizing that all my friends are in North Carolina.
I don't know if you saw the river trip though.
Oh, cool.
We made Kip.
Zach, did you post any of those videos?
No, I haven't yet. My favorite is the one of you. I need to. I need to
Zach,
go back.
Zach is. We
do
won't
that.
ruin it on show, but Zach is going to. He's going to share some clips or a clip anyway of my get up. So in typical Frank fashion,
oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Went a little bit overboard, and this is supposed to be like river float, and I ended up bringing a propane grill and all the things on a river float.
Yeah. Was there a bus floating in a river?
And it took 4 dudes to pick this canoe up to take it down to there he goes. Zach's got a video.
Hang on, wait. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Okay.
None of you, I don't care about any of you listeners right now. I just want to see it. What in the world?
So I had this this canoe set up
back in slow-mo.
There you go. I had this canoe set up and threw on this painted romper. Had it loaded down with coolers and all kinds of fun stuff. Had a little trolling motor, and I towed an inflatable unicorn. Horny, yep. My inflatable unicorn. Yep. And I towed it really behind me pretty much the entire time. There was a section where it got stolen. There was a period of time where it got stolen. It was passed around between some of the other people on the float, but for the most part, it was strapped to my canoe. And at the very beginning, Tim was like, "I don't think this is gonna work. You're probably gonna get stuck a lot, and we're gonna be having to pulling off these rocks." No problem. Like I was squared away. Had that little trolling motor, and I was just getting it. Yeah. Anyway, it was fun.
Oh my God.
We'll have to talk about it later. Tim is trying to keep us on track about shotguns.
No, I know. I see. So shotguns do have a maritime application. So I'm just wondering if anybody had one of those Mossberg stainless models, took it out on the river float. I could see that.
And I tried to think about rigging these up and just having like shotguns on either side of my kayak with like a pivot and a swivel.
The game warden would have
we just didn't have enough time. Do what?
Game warden would have an absolute field day.
Zach and game wardens are not exactly friends.
Oh, they love me, dude.
Okay. Yep.
Because I am always on the up and up.
Yep.
And very respectful.
Yeah, that I believe. So back to the point of the show. Shotguns. So defensive applications, all that good stuff. Why should somebody choose a shotgun to defend their home and their property with over all these other more modern, cooler, more tactical, higher capacity, better equipped guns? Why would I choose a shotgun?
You want to go or me, Frank?
Either or. Go ahead, Zach. Okay, I'll go. So as far as my point of view, shotgun is a very easily recognizable and very easy firearm or platform to teach. So somebody with little to no experience can get spun up very quickly on shooting proficiently with a shotgun, where with a handgun, there's an argument said that you can do the same, but it's much easier to control a shotgun. And I believe that there is it's gonna do a lot of damage, and it's again taking account time and place and location, all that fun stuff. It's gonna be a lot of it's gonna be easier to control what you're shooting at, how your target and everything like that. And then the damage it's going to do to surrounding houses and things, stuff that you don't necessarily want to shoot, is going to be minimized with a shotgun. Now, it's with self-defense buckshot or self-defense ammo, typically buckshot. It's like shooting 8 or 9 pellets, whatever, maybe depending on your load. It's similar to if you were to take like a handgun and shot 8 or 9 times. It's going to do some massive damage. It's going to create an absolute mess. God forbid you ever had to use one. But at the same time, it's going to be easy to use. I can literally hand a shotgun to my wife, and she's going to be able to run it competently. And we're not having to worry about handgun and, different types of malfunctions and being able to control that muzzle and, control the recoil with a handgun. So again, there's pros and cons to it. For home defense, I think it's awesome. It works very well. Again, there's arguments. It depends on the home, right? It depends on different again, different applications. Not every home is going to be perfect for using a shotgun. If you're on a farm, we'll say, using a shotgun, it depends on the distances, may work fantastic. Might not. You might not need, you might need to reach out and touch something a little farther away. But generally speaking, especially with, within the confines of, suburban America, I think a shotgun is a great firearm. Not even to mention the legal side of that, right? So if we start thinking about, this person used a rifle, they used an AR-15, big black scary gun, and for a self-defense shoot, well, they were gunning for it. They knew what they were doing. They used this weapon of mass destruction in order to stop the bad guys. They have all this background. But if you say someone defend their home with a shotgun, what's the first thing you think about? Well, Elmer Fudd with his double barrel, doing work defending his home. It's not, it's not viewed the same, unfortunately. So that's my 2 cents.
So
go ahead, Zach.
I agree for the most part. Shotguns are a difficult thing.
Difficult thing to do well.
I agree with you. Do what?
It can be a difficult thing to do well.
Yes, I do agree with that. I do think that it's easy to teach, but it's also one of the most difficult to teach. I do think that teaching the shotgun the right way is one of the most difficult platforms. I think that it's easier to teach pistol, rifle, other things. A slingshot is easier, in my opinion, than a shotgun. Reason why? Loading, unloading, reloading, emergency reloads, manipulations of the shotgun.
Wait, I thought we were still on slingshots. I don't know how you emergency manipulate a slingshot. I want to see slingshot rolling thunder for one thing.
Oh, bro. Oh, don't test me. We will figure that one out. We will do that one. But no, so shotguns, there's a reason why police have veered away from shotguns over the years. Tom Givens even says it in his class. It's easier to run an AR because it's just like a pistol. It's a mag. Hey, you put the thing in the thing and then you rack the thing and that's it. I mean, you can't. You say it all the time. You put the thing in the thing and shoot the thing with the thing and use these to do the thing. And with a shotgun, it's a bit different. It's you've got to do this thing and then that thing and then upside down thing and then this thing and that thing. And it's different. So statistically, Tom was talking about how FBI and police qualify once a year on a pistol or a rifle, and they can, for the most part, figure it out and kind of do okay. The moment they would touch their shotgun, they were like, how do I load this? How do I do this? Because once you teach somebody the shotgun, like a lot of people forget it. Now, double barrels are a different ball game. There are an easier platform, but it is easy, though. I also agree with Frank in the same aspect of, hey, guess what? If it's already loaded and you hand it off to your wife and all you say is, hey, guess what? All you have to do is just safety off and bang. It's easier. But statistically, rifles, let me just say this real quick, Frank, then I'd love to hear it. Rifles take, let's start with pistols. Pistols take anywhere between 7 to 9 rounds-ish to stop a threat. Rifles take anywhere between 3 to 5. The average stopping power and round count of a shotgun, a well-placed, well-patterned, well-trained person with a shotgun, or even not well trained. The average round count is 1 round. So what's better? Go ahead, Frank.
So stopping power, I'd like to see the spec on that sometime. No such thing. It's not like frying pans, as Tim likes to say, or flying out the muzzle of that firearm for stopping power. But back up. So something else that the average Joe, Joe America, the public face, especially when teaching shotguns, is that you have those preconceived notions of, I know how to run a shotgun. I've run a shotgun my entire life, and you have to fight a lot of stigma and a lot of bad habits. Teaching people the correct way of running a gauge. The push-pull technique, right? How many people at that first class? Twist. Yeah, I mean, have people like, oh yeah, I've shot shotgun all my, like even family, right? Even family, like I don't really want to be here. I'm here to support you guys, but by the end of the class, they're like, I had no idea. I didn't know I was doing this wrong.
My dad did that.
I was talking about your dad, but I didn't want to say.
Yeah, I figured you were.
But there were others, right? And so,
Sure.
But that's really the big thing. It's everybody in the brother has shotgun. Especially in rural North Carolina. That's
more prevalent.
As it's one of the things that people just immediately gravitate to. Okay, what was it? Even Biden, what was it, a few years ago, was like just shoot in the air a couple of times, something like that. Yeah, fire some rounds. Yeah, don't do that, listening.
Yeah, please don't,
listeners. But again, it's that perception. Listening listeners. But it's that perception, right? It's that perception of a shotgun versus a handgun, like tactical handgun, or that tactical whatever. It's one of the reasons why I really like wood furniture on shotgun. I love my 1301. I love my 1301, and will absolutely do work with it. But there's a special place in my heart for that that boom chunk, right? Running the pump shotgun, that old Mossberg 500 or whatever it may be. Maybe even break out the old Belgium A5 and do some work with that. But regardless, again, there's a different stigma, right? There's a different appeal to a shotgun versus a handgun or a rifle or something like that. And again, depending on load, depending on location, there's some things that you can do with a shotgun that a rifle would be overpowered for, or a shotgun, or a handgun. You're going to need those multiple rounds. Clint Smith, right? I love this saying by Clint Smith. Pistols go in people, rifles go through people. Shotguns will take a chunk of that person and fling that chunk, across the room. We'll remove that chunk from that person. But that's the PG version. But seriously, I mean, as far as stopping a threat, shotguns can absolutely do that, literally in one trigger press versus like, again, right? We're talking semantics and specifics or whatever, but generally speaking, shotguns are going to be able to stop that threat with one trigger press versus
well, it's so much easier, in my opinion, for people who aren't trained, to grab something this short or this long and post up on a bed and in a corner with their kids behind them and just sit and wait and aim at that door. You're talking about, there's been countless videos of people that are like, why are you doing this? And they're the most heartbreaking videos. But at the same time, hey, guess what? You could have just fired one round and it been over. It could be with a pistol that you fire a lot more, but the training with a shotgun is less, but it is more. You do need a lot more training with a shotgun, but you also need less training with a shotgun. So it's like, it's more prevalent in our area in North Carolina for people to have shotguns. But I still say to seek training. Ken, I have a question for you. You know shotguns. You're good with a shotgun. In your experience, let's talk about your family. Let's say
it's so funny that you're doing this, because this is what I was just going to say.
Okay.
So, 2 reasons why I'm enjoying a shotgun right now in my house. One being, I'm in the active stages of teaching my son how to manipulate firearms. Okay? I need to leave a firearm or 2 out and available to use to defend my home, because guns locked up in safes and everything else don't really do a lot of good for daddy to protect the place or mommy to protect the place if it takes 10 or 15 seconds to fart around trying to get into something. So, not to give away our super secret home defense plan, but it goes a little something like this. I'm armed right now. So is she. Cool. So the minute that we're going to lose consciousness, it's time to put those pistols in the safes next to the bed that little humans can't get into. And now the shotguns, guns, plural, one for her, one for me, are the only thing left out in the house. Both of these shotguns are left in a cruiser-ready condition. For the audience, that is defined as the safety is defeated. The trigger has been pressed on an empty chamber. So all that must happen is the pump must be run and a trigger must be pressed, or the bolt must be run and the trigger must be pressed in terms of the semi-auto gun. My 4-year-old is as yet physically incapable of completing that task.
Yeah.
He cannot take that gun off its rack and run it or run the – I mean, the semi-auto gun's actually even a little safer to have out. There ain't no way in heck, even if he knew what he was doing and was intentionally attempting to load the gun, which I'm teaching him to do, remember? I'm teaching him to manipulate other guns. So it'd be disingenuous of me to believe that little hands will never make the attempt to load one of the home defense guns. That'd be silly to believe, right? So right this very minute, those guns are probably – it's that or an AR in terms of like, well, if he can't run the bolt or if he can't run the action, he's not going to be able to hurt himself, right? Or somebody else unnecessarily. That's 1. 2, I'll tell you what, man, we ran this experiment years ago, and it is still true today. Sophia's number 1 best performing firearm that she has ever run is a 20 gauge youth size Mossberg 500 tactical.
Heck yeah.
That girl can rip on that shotgun.
Dude, my wife is the same, bro. She can sling a shotgun.
So
it's
like
nuts.
There's still a little awkwardness and weirdness with the rifles. There's still a little like, I'm searching for the optic. I can't figure out the reticle. I'm not sure. Sure. Dude, give her a shotgun with ghost rings. And she's like, oh, you want me to run those plate racks? Whack, 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 whack. Like that? Like, yeah, like that. Stand over there so you don't see the fact that my pants are getting shorter. Like, dude, it's just working. Like, she's able to run that gun. So, cool. In terms of a tool that people can run in the household that aren't me, while still at the same time being as safe as possible for little hands, right now, it's a shotgun, and that's a very much of a right now thing. And it's a friggin' this kid is growing every other day. So, like, ask me in another week. I don't know what I'm going to tell you.
See, and I think that you're – oh, go ahead, Frank.
Sorry, I was going to say, yeah.
We're
I know, right? We're all the time. We're constantly like running our side.
Go ahead, bro.
So in my family, we have a very similar setup. Same thing, cruiser and everything, but. So we go just a step beyond that, and the stop box, the breech lock. So I actually picked that up from T. Tim and T were talking about that. I was like, really? And I got to see it with my own eyes. I'm like, I'm 100%. I'm getting that. So it's just a little breech lock kind of breech blocking device that you can very quickly, grab onto and literally fling off. And with
It works
that,
really well.
it works so well, especially with the 1301. But it is a phenomenal device, relatively cheap, like $100, something like that. So it's just an extra layer of prevention because I'm same boat as you, Kent. So I've actively been teaching Harper, firearms manipulation and things like that. My son's not quite there yet, but as far as I'm concerned. But so Harper's well versed on several different platforms, and she if I know that if I were to leave like shotgun or something like that out, I know that she'd be safe. But in my home, I wanted that just extra piece, right? But like I said, I took one out of Tim and T's toolbox, and that stop lock is a phenomenal tool. A way to, like I said, have that, even if little hands were to gain access to that, granted, if they magically were able to somehow get a cartridge inside of it, that breech lock is another deterrent that literally doesn't add. I mean, it's just literally a second. I mean, you can pick it up, put your hand on it, and it's gone, and you're already back with proper grip. I mean, it's literally a second.
Is there like a code or a combo or like?
It's just so there's buttons that's on the front of it, and you just put your hand on like a certain way, almost like a stop box. Have you messed with a stop box before?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just like a stop box.
I love you or different.
Yeah.
hands.
So there's 5 buttons on it, one for your thumb and one for each finger, and you can just hit it a certain way, give it that secret handshake, if you will, and then it just comes flying out of the breech, and you can immediately put your hand on where it needs to go. It's so quick, so easy, and it's just a peace of mind, if nothing else. But that's something that I've recently adopted.
We need to do a video
100%
on that soon.
Yes. No, I agree. We absolutely should.
And start telling people, because Tim just brought up T. I worked with T on it, and we worked on trying to see how quick and how it could do things and what it could do, what it couldn't do. And we tested things. And Tim eventually found out that he could actually remove it and it would load around. Some shotguns can do it, some can't. It's how you set it up. But
with the 1301,
even if you just removed it and then rack it, it's still kids they can't. It's very difficult.
Wait a minute.
And especially with closet ready, cruiser ready, and then the stop box, it's so good. What? Dude,
they're selling these right now. You can buy the chamber lock on their website, stopbox.com, stopboxusa.com. You can buy the chamber lock online, and with the purchase of the chamber lock comes a free stop box, the original box.
Huh.
For $150. That's not some kick-ass Green Mountain Defense affiliate thing. I literally just Googled this thing, and in 2 seconds, I'm looking at a promo.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, I thought it was around $100, but regardless, I mean, it is
but it's $100. It's $150 for 2 of them, Frank.
Okay, cool.
It's $150 for the chamber thing and the box.
For the actual shotgun, it's like $150. So you're actually getting that box for free. That's actually pretty cool.
But like I said, I picked that up from Tim and T. That it's a phenomenal little addition. I am a fan.
Okay, well, I'm buying 2 of these later tonight when I'm not trying to run a podcast. But anyway, that's pretty
cool.
You
actually should. I recommend them. So does Frank and Tim and everybody else. So
if you go to www.stopboxusa.com/affiliate-link/Green Mountain Defense, you'll get nothing because there's nothing there and they have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
They've never heard of me. And
they might idea who we are.
They might charge you more.
We like their stuff.
Yeah, this is a cool little deal. So I'm gonna
and again, it's a deterrent. It's not a lock, anything like that.
I get it.
Apache not long ago was at a homeschooling conference, and another guy had walked up. This is the pistol box, right? Another guy had walked up to the booth And he was talking about, oh yeah, I got one of these, and his son, who's I want to say he's probably preteen or so, probably 9, 10, somewhere in there. He walked right up, and we had a little dummy gun inside of our stop box. He walked right up, gave the secret handshake, picked up the gun, was like, just waving it around. And
even though it was fake, you're like, oh dear God.
the guy was like, what how did you know how to get in that? And the son was like, oh, you showed me. And he's like, no, the dad was like, no, I did not. There's no way. Well, what does that mean? I mean, this kid was playing, right? So with potentially loaded firearms. So that's, man, that's it. I want to make sure, your listeners know it's not a safe. It's not, but it's a deterrent, right? It's something to slow down little hands. It's, something to help mitigate the risk of them doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Still didn't change the responsible gun ownership, but
no, for sure. I mean, we're ultimately responsible for what we do, but we're in a paradox, right? Because there's bad people in this world, and they do want to harm our children. Like if we can't say that out loud, we're also fucked up parents.
Right.
So what are you gonna do? I mean, besides learning to like ninja kick people, which that also helps. Speaking of ninja kicking people, Soph got her white stripe on her or black stripe on her jiu-jitsu belt.
That's cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Giddy up.
Stopbox sponsored us for the homeschool conference. They sent us a Stopbox and a chamber lock. So apparently Stopbox does know who Apache Solutions
I didn't even know that.
Nice, Zach. Good, Zach.
Yep.
My bad. Supported, not sponsored.
Right.
Well,
he corrected himself.
Well, let's see.
Either way, I didn't know that.
So back to the gauge. I feel like we've traveled a little bit from that.
Well, hold on. Before we're done, I'd like to announce my new sponsorship from Pause Container. It's not quite Stopbox, but it's almost as good.
Pause Container.
Pause Container. www.pausecontainer.com. Oh, God. All right, so back to the gauge. But that's not a diversion. I love it when I come on and learn some shit on my own podcast. So here we are. I didn't know that was a thing. So if I ghost load the 940 and I put that thing in by default, that's gonna load it. Yeah. That's absolutely gonna send her around in behind that, because if I pop that loose, and I'm left-handed, so I can pop that loose and go. Oh,
exactly.
You can go forward.
Baby. Tim,
even for your students, genius. It's worth it.
Yeah,
you genius. Don't think I ain't gonna go out on the range and do a shot timer on from low ready to removal of that to a shot. I'm gonna get that down to 0.9 real fast.
So let me say something about, just for whoever's going to listen to this. Please do not, and you cannot use birdshot for any kind of self-defense. Do not use birdshot. Can I eat this microphone? Because please don't use birdshot. Some people will think that, and I could be 5 feet from you wearing a Carhartt jacket and ain't going through it. And I'm going to giggle. So don't use birdshot, everyone. So now let's talk about rounds.
All right. So let's talk about ammo. Is there any... I have 3 ammo questions. I would like to talk about less lethal. I would like to talk about slugs. And I would like to talk about buckshot patterning. So, I have actually utilized less lethal in a shotgun for a black bear on my porch in Vermont.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
That's actually pretty cool.
A very random ass. We had a problem back in the day in the Vermont house.
Oh, sweet Jesus. I actually have less lethals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly. So we had we had what do you want to call it? We had a company that lived next to our house at the ski resort that was a vacation rental company. They rented the condos and stuff, and they had the main dumpster that they used for all their rentals. They had it at their office. So all Yogi and Baloo and Polar and all the bear fellas, the Bernsteins, all them sons of bitches, were bearing their way through my backyard every night. And eventually one fella decided he was going to climb up on my back deck back there, and he was going to wreak havoc on my gas grill. And I was moderately concerned that he was going to be a problem, so I kept trying to scare him away different ways over the course of those weeks. And finally, I talked to the local constable, and I asked him. I was like, "Hey man, what should I do if I don't want to shoot this bear?" And he was like, "Oh, dude, the game wardens use rubber buckshot for nuisance bears around some of the dumpsters around here. Why don't you get some rubber?" And I was like, I was that day years old.
That was fun though.
This is probably 2012, maybe 2013. I was like, what the hell's rubber buck? In 2013, Kent didn't know what rubber buckshot was. If you had internet bingo, there you go. That's when I learned about that. Didn't know it was a thing. So I was like, all right. So I went into freaking, Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever down there in Rutland, Vermont. And I was like, y'all got any rubber buckshot? And the fella acted like he was like, "Oh man, you gotta get that on the internet. You can't." Like it was like the most fudloriest freaking like conversation. But eventually, I went to like a police supply store and I got some rubber buckshot. I kept it loaded, and one day I was presented the opportunity, and I gave old Mr. Bernstein a little swat in the butt with some rubber buckshot. So now. We could now that I tell that story, I could talk about how terrible of an idea that was, because if I'd have mixed up my real buckshot with my rubbers, we could either have a dead bear or a still alive gangster, depending on how good my luck was or bad my luck was that week. So, meh. If you look in a law enforcement context, law enforcement will generally not utilize less than lethal ammunition unless they have lethal cover. Like, let's pretend for a moment that Zach and Frank are cops, right? Zach by himself is not going to bail out of a vehicle and go directly to less lethal, because if it don't work, he's screwed and he ain't got no help. So generally you'll see like one officer or one person in a team will go less lethal and others will cover down with lethals. So there's that. There's also the whole, like, if you're going to stuff some shit in a shotgun and it's going to be less lethal, you might want to demarcate on the shotgun that it's for less lethal. So, like, maybe paint the stock orange or blue or something like that, or maybe, like, some way visibly show that, hey, man, this is less lethal and only less lethal. And then, of course, a better plan, rather than dumbass redneck Kent just grabbing his regular shotgun and stuffing some other stuff in it, a better plan would be, hey, once this shotgun receives less lethal ammo, it never sees regular live ammo again. Like, for the rest of its life, that's what it's for. So I did want to talk about that.
So I have also had to use less lethal before. So I'm real big in the chat. Dan Brady's talking about super sock. He's talking about beanbag rounds on sword wielding crazies.
Sword wielding.
I can just
dude, I'm trying not to laugh. I'm so sorry.
But so I have used less lethal. So I like reloadings, all the things. Reloading shotgun shells, holes is something else that I have done in the past and enjoy doing. Rock salt. So loading up rock salt for a shotgun in the shotgun. And so when we were living on the farm, that's something that we did pretty regularly. And it was for, I don't necessarily want to kill the dogs and stuff like that come digging through our trash or a yard or whatever it is, but we do want to make them go away. So rock salt was something that we would regularly make, shells or whatnot for it. But again, back to what Kent was saying, we had a specific less than lethal shotgun that was its only job was for using that. You only for take care of those dogs or whatever it may be. We had a completely separate shotgun to drop the buck that was standing on our front porch. But it's completely different. Shoot has said civilian defender. I don't think it's possible to shoot somebody in less lethal capacity regardless of the context. I agree. I mean, I really don't think as a civilian that's something that we should do. If we're going to be pointing a firearm at somebody, it's going to be to stop a threat. That's it. I don't know.
Let me dither with you on this though.
What about riots or?
I don't disagree with you at all. But what if it's the only way that you can get somebody to operate a shotgun at all? What if you've got that moral objector who's like, I want to do everything I can not to take a life, and they're that steadfast with it? I'm totally with you from the once you go barrels on with shotgun on human, it's fucking lethal force. So from a legal context and from a context of like there is no difference. If you point a shotgun at a dude, that's lethal force. Whether you want to go and say, oh, I had this round or that round, like that, you've already crossed that threshold. But can you see any application for it? Because I've thought of a few, and I've definitely known a couple students who although I did not recommend it to them, the thought crossed my mind.
Yeah, I don't know if that was something I would recommend. Me personally.
Yeah.
Reasons being, again, if somebody hasn't made up their mind, and this goes for like just concealed carry, doesn't matter if it's shotgun, long gun, whatever it is. If somebody has not made up in their mind that for the I'm not going to be I'm going to use less lethal force, or in my perfect worldview of self-defense, instead of stopping my threat, I'm going to wound my threat. I'm going to shoot him in the leg or something like that. Right? They have that mentality. More of that what is it? Pacifist, maybe, like that pacifist mentality. I don't I want to hurt you, but I don't want to kill you, kind of thing. I don't think that person necessarily should, be considering a firearm, for self-defense. Like I don't want to say no. Like it is their God-given right. Like they can do what they need to do with that. But I don't know if I would encourage that. I think that if you're deciding as a responsibly armed citizen, you're deciding that you're going to be using a firearm for self-defense, then you need to make it right with God, or whatever you feel like you need to do to know that potentially this may be the day. This may be the day that I, end up in shiny, wrist bracelets and have to go downtown for legally defending my life, legally stopping a threat. I think that's just something that, we have all come to peace with, and when one way or another, right? We all have plans in one way or another. God forbid that event were to ever happen. And it's one of those things where if you haven't made that decision, or you want to take that other road of, using less than lethal force or not doing that, I just don't, I don't think that that's a great idea. Oh yeah. Not to mention misapplied less lethal can still result in fatality. 100%. How many stories of police using beanbags on somebody's head, right? And just bad on top of bad, but they're not. It's now a terminal incident because misplaced shot.
Yep. See, I only have these because I have cows. Take these out with you. Shoot a cow in the rear end. You can also.
I had some, and Tim stole them. They were sent them by Scotty.
Yeah, but less lethal, civilians shouldn't own them, unless they do certain things with them. But there's no reason, in my opinion, for civilians to own. I'm not saying that we can't buy them, but there's no use in self-defense for something like this, in my opinion. Self-defense,
tell you what,
use a round of buckshot, bro. Stop someone. I was about to say something else. Stop them. Use buckshot.
I'm with you.
Use this on a cow.
There's a couple incidences and a couple kind of hypotheticals I can think of. Well, the bear. I mean, yeah. So clearly,
that was a good point.
totally
the bear, use it on a bear.
Yeah, use the shit out of it on a bear. But like, there are contexts and incidences where like I can understand why somebody would make the choice. So like I'm not. First of all, the minute you start telling me what civilians should and shouldn't own, I get all fucking brustly, and I was like, "Well, fuck you then, gosh darn it."
That's why I changed my statement.
I know.
I changed my statement real quick.
I just get a little. Yeah, I start twitching. I get a little Forrest Whitaker eye. It doesn't go good for me. But like,
no, dude, I'm a civilian, and look,
I know. I could see it.
You want to watch this now, Zach?
Yeah. Now you're on a watch list.
I've been on a watch list.
Now I want to have it, and I want it as an option. You know, I always say this. I say this in classes. I say the minute that the Star Trek stun gun that I can draw from my appendix holster and stun you to the ground from 25, 50, 75, or 100 yards. The minute that's like reliably, I'm not talking like the stun guns of today or like tasers. I'm talking about like set for stun, Captain Kirk, and I could fucking down, and I can get that guy just as God as I can get him with a freaking pistol. But he freezes for a day, and he's stuck that way for a day, and then tomorrow he unfreezes and he's in jail. Like when that technology comes out, I'm about it. I'm all about it. I'm for it.
Well,
why not? Why not, Frank? You don't want to freeze a motherfucker, put him in jail tomorrow?
You're a better person than I am.
Yeah, you want him gone, don't you? You want that blood. You won't kill him.
No. I want to stop a threat.
Something.
I don't
want to stop a threat.
He wants to stop.
By stopping a threat also removes, something from the gene pool. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing.
Like Clint Smith takes a chunk of crap and throws.
Kifley went to bed. We can be ourselves. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeet a chunk of shit, mass.
Yeah. So look. So here's the thing. The other part of this is you have to realize that if there was an appendix carry stun gun that had 100-yard range, you two motherfuckers would both already be frozen for a day. I promise you that much. We'd be doing stun gun force.
We would shoot each other all the time for fun.
I know. That'd be so bad.
I would drive to your house just to shoot you in your company truck and be like, haha, biatch. All right, let's get back to shotguns. Frank, thank you.
Don't let me forget this, but I'll share this after the fact.
No, go ahead, Frank. Hammer down.
Everything. No.
All right.
We need to talk about. You went on this like 3-hour dive on.
Yeah.
Rubber.
So I said 3 ammo. So that was less lethal ammo. So the second ammo is just as much as you don't like less
slugs and then buckshot and patterning.
Yes. So just as much as you don't like less lethal, I don't like slugs. They have their application. I understand.
They do.
But
here's why I love a shotgun.
That's all right. Yeah, go.
Because hey, guess what? I could totally grab that, and I could grab a rifle on my farm. But it has one purpose, one use. With a shotgun, you have everything. You have a rifle. You have you have a bird gun. You have a self-defense gun, and you also have some serious stopping power with whatever you want to use. I have a gun that I can stalk coyotes and shoot coyotes from 200 yards. I have something that I can defend my home with. I also can shoot birds. I also can shoot in the air with birdshot and stop a hawk or a bald eagle, not shooting them, but just shooting the opposite direction, and the noise scares them.
Bro, did you just advocate shooting birdshot at a bald eagle on my goddamn podcast?
No, you heard me. I said in the opposite direction.
Oh my God.
Because I would never shoot an eagle, you butthole. But you get what I'm saying? They go after my chickens, dude. So what am I going to do? crank off
Deal with
around
it.
in the air, and it scares them, and they go flying out somewhere else.
You can crack off around in the
Doc.
ground too, Zach.
Okay, Doc. I guess everybody's against me now. Thanks, Doc. hey, guess what? Good night, Doc. It's past your bedtime, old man. I do love you.
Oh,
I miss you.
my god.
Oh, ouch.
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
not gonna read that one out loud.
Yeah, don't read that out loud.
There's stopping power.
So
stop with the stopping power.
Yeah, the stopping power
Not a
thing's gotta
thing.
go. Not a thing.
What you talking
All right,
about?
so-
Stopping power.
No,
Let's not.
that's
He's
another
still
show.
gonna. He's still gonna. But like, it'd be nice if we. Zach shoots Eagles. That's the next T-shirt. You know what? Tonight's T-shirt can be, if you want, Zach shoots Eagles. We can do that.
I
Actually-
hate you all.
Zach's got birds on his shirt tonight.
Screw
already.
you, huh?
You've got
I
birds on your shirt
do.
already?
Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. I love
He loves
birds.
his chickens. Yeah.
I love birds.
So
do love
slugs.
chickens.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem with slugs. Right.
God, that derailed.
In my particular home defense application, that slug is like a freight train that is gonna end up in my neighbor's house.
Yep.
For shit sure.
It's not good for.
Even if I
sure.
put it in the the Benny Hill gang or whoever shows up to like rob my house, like low key, that was a funny joke if anybody's paying attention. Imagine them motherfuckers. I'm out there. Whack, whack. Anyway, dude, I'm for sure putting a slug all the way through that dude and all the way in my neighbor's house. That just is what it is. That's my house. That's my place. On the Cox farm, nah. That's maybe not the same thing there. So
Hence why I said this is why I carry it on my farm.
No, I'm with you. I get it. It like makes
It
a
does
great
have
deer
stopping
gun.
power. Screw you.
Now, in terms of like being able to run a slug select drill and all of a sudden have a way more precise point of aim for law enforcement applications or for the hey man, now we need to, we're getting pretty far down into the IDPA tactical bingo, but now I need to make a hostage shot with my wife around or something like that, and I don't want a pattern. I want to be able to run a slug select. I get it. I get why.
Yeah.
Listeners,
Most
slug
people,
select
most
being,
homeowners should have buckshot and pattern their shotgun with buckshot. That's what it boils down to.
But there's one slug on my card, right? On my my Aridus QDC. There's one slug oriented the other direction, and I can run a slug select, and I can get a slug in that thing. And like, yes, I can put my dot on a head box and do work with a slug. So there's reasons you want to be able to do that, and I do understand, and I do agree with those. But for the general homeowner purpose, I think the slug thing's a little overdone. So
I agree. I think it's not very beneficial.
What about you, Frank?
So I would tend to agree with you. As far as a home defense application, if you're tight, close quarter neighborhood or something like that, it's slug is not going to be ideal. For the same reason, right? It's going to go through everything and keep on trucking and go through your neighbor's fridge and your neighbor. But for application for a farm, application for slowing down a vehicle, disabling a vehicle potentially, those are all ideas. John Willis said, remember why Foster invented his slug. I mean, it was literally during the Depression for families to shoot deer and take game, right? So I mean that was the purpose. So with a slug, you're going to be able to reach out much farther than you will with buckshot. You're going to have that single great big old hole, especially when we're looking at smooth bore shotguns and things of that nature, not talking about rifled shotguns. But for hunting applications, I think they could be appropriate for certain homes, right, where you have some distance. That may be an idea, maybe an idea, something like that. It depends. Then again, if you're on a farm or something like that, is the shotgun really the best choice? again, it depends. For some instances, for if you're on a farm or something like that, and the way that Zach uses it, absolutely. But if you're on this big ranch and it's all wide open spaces, a rifle may be a better alternative for something like that. Again, it depends. But going back to that, slugs absolutely have their application. Take a look at Phil's ballistics demo when it comes to working inside of homes and things like that. When you start shooting at walls, when you start shooting and seeing just what a slug can actually do and how much it actually takes to stop a slug, there are applications for that. Absolutely. If you needed to stop a vehicle or disable a vehicle or stop a threat inside of a vehicle or something like that, sure. But in our civilian context, I don't necessarily see it as something that's not going to be a go-to.
No, that's really fair. That said, I've got a deer blind in mind for this upcoming hunting season, where I intend to have the Mossberg 940 on me, and I'm probably going to do a slug select and then shoot a deer just to prove to myself I can do it.
Giddy up.
Or if homeboy comes close enough, I might just use buckshot on the buck.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Talking about buckshot, same man. John should you just replace me and come on the show, but is that Modern Buck absolutely hit a hostage shot at home distances, and he's 100% correct, right? So being able to have that nice tight group, right, when you're going through your buckshot selection process in your particular shotgun, finding something that has a nice tight group that's going to stay together without that flyer or anything like that. It's absolutely, you can have confidence in knowing your equipment and your ammo selection will do the job you need it to do.
And that's the most important thing is so everyone listening who's going to listen to this, do you know the distance of your shotgun? Do you know what your shotgun can do? Do you know how it patterns with certain buckshot? Patterning a shotgun is so important. It's the most crucial
and often overlooked.
Whether it's self-defense, hunting, or anything, it's if you don't know what your gun does and how it performs, why do you even own it? Because you could literally murder your child.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Yeah.
Shut up, Siri.
Yeah. Sorry. I was like,
no, don't say that again. I'm not going to say that again. But seriously, it's so important. It's one of the most important about shotgun shooting. Go ahead, Frank.
And that's the single most, underrated thing, right? There's a lot of things that, people just go, all right, give me, I heard I need some buckshot. I need the man killers or whatever it is. And they're like, okay, here's some ammo. And then you get them out on the range and, you ask the question of, have you ever shot the buckshot? And they're like, oh, no, that's expensive. I'm not going to waste my ammo. I'm like, okay, well, just for kicks and giggles, I just happen to have the exact same flavor of buckshot right here. Let's test it out in your gun. And, they have a pattern that looks like this, right? So, I mean, it's 12 inches or 14 inches, something like that at, 15 yards. It is not going to work for their gun. But then like that's the idea. You think, average Joe's going to go, oh, I'm just going to feed it inside my gun and it's just going to absolutely be perfect because, every shotgun ever is absolutely awesome. And, I have 13-1, Zach has 13-1. They will not shoot the same ammo. They don't feed the same way. It's just those minor variances between the barrels, minor variances between the ammo. It could be the exact same brand ammo, but I could have two separate lots, right? And those difference in lots are just enough to have a big enough variance where it can cause an issue in Zach's gun and not mine or vice versa. It's wildly overlooked. Now, not to say just with buckshot, I'm talking about anything in shotgun. Even when you're patterning like bird shot and stuff like that, if you're doing shooting for sport like clays, you want to have a nice clean pattern. You don't want to have any holes that's inside of your shot because that's when you potentially could have some misses. Or if you're even with slugs, right? It's easy for us to say, oh yeah, that slug's going to go straight. Will it? But will it though? What kind of choke are you running with that? Hopefully not with the slug, but what kind of wad is behind that slug, or wads behind that buckshot? Federal flight control is where it's at. I mean, there's some awesome science and some awesome stuff that goes behind that particular wad, but it doesn't necessarily work in every gun, right? It doesn't necessarily work in every shotgun. I have some shotguns that work phenomenally with the cheap Fiocchi stuff, and it runs like absolute dog crap with the fancy federal flight control. And then the opposite is also true. So that whole process of selecting your ammo, that whole process of shooting a lot out of your particular shotgun with your particular lot, figuring out what works best for you, that's where time is spent. Especially you're able to accomplish multiple things at once. You're learning your gun, right? You're learning your ammo. You're learning how it works. You're learning its patterning. You're learning all the the minutia about it. But at the same time, if you're doing it correctly, you're building up good habits of proper technique, good habits of actually running the gauge, not just So you're killing multiple birds with one stone. Pun intended.
But tisk. I like that. So interesting to me to think about like the misconceptions that people come with, because you see it like, so a perfect example, right? Like running slugs with chokes. You can run a slug with a choke. Some chokes and some slugs.
Yeah.
So maybe we should know that before we assume.
Right.
Like what's the difference between like a Foster slug and a Sabo, and why are they that way? Why are there rifled slugs? Why are there rifled slug barrels? Like Mossberg puts out those combo guns for a reason. My first ever gun was my first ever shotgun, I should say, it was a Mossberg 500 field tactical deer combo, or what. It was the gun that came with all three barrels.
Yep.
So it was a Mossberg 500 that came with a deer, came with a deer rifled slug barrel. It came with a 28-inch choke field barrel, removable choke thing, and it came with an 18-inch cylinder board barrel with a bead on it. Yep. And that was Mossberg's answer to like protect your family and feed your family all in the one gun. Like that was their whole point. So it's interesting how people like look at these guns and they go, well, that ought to work. Anytime you're telling yourself that ought to work when it comes to a shotgun, you probably need to test that shit, because you don't know if it's gonna or if it's not gonna.
And that's half the fun, right? So
sure.
I've been since that class, I taught with Zach, or I AI'd with Zach. I've been looking into some just non-typical shotguns, non-typical shotgun patterns. Oh yeah, it's also fun and spicy. Fun to sell and spicy, yeah, or sciencey. Yeah, it's patterning and going through any kind of shotgun stuff fun. Anyway, so the non-typical, right? So I'm not talking just like the, you're thinking about the double barrel, the like the break action, semi-auto, pump shotguns, etc. Those are your typicals. And then I would even go as far as saying even some of the AR pattern shotguns, they're pretty popular now. But some of the non-typical ones that are out there are like the shotguns with the rotating muzzle tube, right? So you're literally rotating the tube that your magazine tube, right? You're literally rotating all your magazine tubes at once. That's interesting, right? So I think it's called the TS12 or something like that.
I have a student who brought one of those for lessons.
You see, and that's I had seen one in a gun store, and I was like, "Huh, it's interesting. Let me check that out." I had not seen one in person. Well, until I saw one in gun store. But then the reason what even got me thinking was we had a student that brought a bullpup shotgun to class, and I'm sitting there with this thing in my hand, and we're talking about different applications and doing different things. I'm looking at this thing going, "How the hell are we going to teach them to do this? Like, how can we safely unload this shotgun without running the action or anything like that? Because the way that they manufacture this, way that this is built, there's really not a safe way of doing it without, actually cycling the shotgun. So, that took me back of going, okay, well, I want to be a master weapon craft. I want to be able to pick up any firearm and just be able to do work on it, like get it running, get it moving, understand, where the, safeties and whatnot are, the minutia of the gun. But that shotgun, that little bullpup that she had, took me back. I was like, okay, that I've never seen this before. I'm going to have to do some research on this one, because I would assume you could do this, but you can't. So I'm going to have to rethink how I'm saying things, or how, Zach is saying things, so that we can, we can't use those always and never statements, right? So we have to be able to identify how can we safely utilize this firearm, because that's what they brought, right?
Sure.
That's what they're going to be using. So how can we cater to them in a class setting, and still, accomplish our end goal? So that was interesting. That's so I've been looking at all ton of different, I want to say non-typical shotguns, trying to get different ideas of what I'm going to pick up next, just for the show and tell, and just for the, learning myself.
Yeah, it's so my experience with the I think it's the IWI, is the TS12, the rotating. It's got three mag tubes and all that. I had a student bring that thing out, and there's certain drills that we would take for granted, like a shoot one, load one,
mm-hmm.
or a proper slug select, or even just practicing malfunctions and failure drills that are essentially impossible on that gun, because you can't get to the mag tube that the gun is loading from. You can only get to the tube that's not in
primary.
In the primary position yet. So that's one. And two is, if you load that down to just one round and then spin the tube, it doesn't have enough oomph. One round will get stuck in that tube. It requires the spring tension of like 5 or 6 or 4 rounds or whatever it is. I can't say, all right, we'll put a round in that tube and then spin it and then have a blank tube and get a click, no bang, and then spin to a hot tube and get a bang. It doesn't work that way.
Right. And that was, part of the issues that we were running into, is we're saying, okay, let's do this particular drill, load one, shoot one, or whatever it is. And, the student was unable to do it because of the mechanics of the firearm. And, as an AI, I was sitting back going, shit, I don't know how to help the student, because I don't know anything about this gun, like, at all. Like, I know nothing. I know it's a shotgun. I know it goes bang with 12 gauge, but that's pretty much it. Like, I could find where the safeties and stuff like that are, but as far as like, going through and how to actually, manipulate this shotgun proficiently, I was lacking, and that bothered me. So I've been shopping since.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a very inexplicable millionaire Frank solution. Every time a gun bothers you, just buy it. Like, I understand that.
I'm not saying I go buy it, but I got friends.
Right. Well, I believe you buy guns more than you have enough friends to buy guns. I'm just saying. You're just out there like, yeah, I shall Frank me up a shotgun.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. That's about what happens. So I think we've talked through the ammos. Now I want to talk real briefly. And I don't want to talk about specific models, because what we need to do is we need to do another one of these where we talk about, like, all right, let's take a model of shotgun and set it up for work. So outside of model specifics, what does a home defense shotgun need to have in order for it to be a legit?
12 gauge.
Okay. So what
Not
a home
20.
defense shotgun, you won't take a 20 gauge.
Me personally, no.
Okay, fair.
But continue your questions.
I was gonna say, I don't suppose you want to tell us why.
I will get into it.
Oh, get into it. Go. Why do you have to have a 12 gauge?
It's better.
Thank you, Zach. for those.
Oh,
for those
bye,
of you,
Frank.
You just killed Frank.
Bye,
Frank thought
Frank.
that was.
See ya.
There he is.
Where'd you go, Frank?
Frank was too busy laughing. Why is the 12 gauge?
I know where he went. He went to go fart.
Okay. 12 gauge. Why? Why can't I have a 20 gauge?
You can.
Okay.
But they don't make as good ballistically buckshot rounds like they do 12. Federal Flight Control 8 and 9 pellet for a 12 gauge is far superior to most and all 20 gauge. 20 gauge does kick less, sure, that most people think, but you learn techniques and you get a shotgun that fits you. 12 gauge can kick just as little as a 20 gauge. So why would you not have a 12 gauge that is bigger, better, stronger, has more power, bigger rounds, bigger whatever? It's just better, superior. Why would you not have that? If you can actually
I have one reason.
learn how to control it like anything else.
Here, I'll give you a reason. Because the manufacturers don't always make a 12 gauge in a body size or frame style that fits your particular shooter. And sometimes
you are correct.
So sometimes you got to go down to a 20.
But gunsmiths are a thing.
Yes, sure, and you have to custom make them for you.
Right. I mean, take a hacksaw, do what you need to do work, but
take a hacksaw.
But you know, fitment. I know we didn't talk about fitment today. That's something that you know we should cover at maybe that other show. But you know, it's absolutely imperative. We saw in the last class that we were in, there were people out there that had shotguns that were way too big for the shooter. I struggle shooting Zach's shotguns. Zach struggles shooting my shotguns, and it's just because the length of pull is so so different.
Yeah. Because I'm more of like a 12, and he's like a 13 and a half.
Yeah,
it's just wildly different.
What?
Yeah.
He's longer than I am, Kent.
So there's such a big difference there, and as far in regards to proper fitment. And so everything is different from your cheek weld to like where you just naturally put your hands and everything like that. And because of that, like you have a shotgun, we'll say that the stock is too long or whatever it may be. You're gonna struggle doing like that push pull technique. You're gonna struggle with getting that proper cheek weld or whatever it is, right? Getting that gun up to where you need it to go to do work. And that's why every shotgun needs to be fit to the individual. So I understand your point of view, Kent, as far as some 12 gauges aren't going to fit we'll say smaller frame individuals or something like that, right? They're not out of the box. They're not necessarily going to work.
So here's my caveat on that, Frank, and I'll let you get back on it, because you said something that's really, really true, which is, hey, like gunsmiths are a thing. Keep in mind for me, please. So are people who aren't as into this as we are.
Oh yeah,
who ain't gonna do that shit.
Yep.
So I'm thinking of a homegirl of mine named Joy, who took a shitload of privates from me, and her solution was to go out and get a youth model 20 gauge, because that is what fit her. And Joy wasn't gonna go and spend piles and piles of cash getting her gun all modified. I was able to set Joy up with an Alzetta light mount, and she was able to buy that youth model 20 gauge shotgun, with some like ghost rings on it. And the poor girl even had to have that stupid purple Muddy Girl camo shit, which she did not want, but that's all she could find in that particular shotgun size, right? And you know something? I hope whoever you are, when you kick in Joy's door, the last thing you see is some Muddy Girl camo and a fucking white light from an HLX Streamlight, because that's what you're going to get from Joy. Because we got Joy set up, and we did it for $500.
And there are exceptions. And and you know what? And
I know. I'm yelling at the internet, not you.
There are exceptions, but also
yelling at the whole internet.
I'm not going to knock that. I mean, that is great, Zach. Who sent you that?
Where'd you get that? That's funny.
Alex, that's great.
Shoot us.
Duck. It's old duck hunt game with Zach's head on it. That's perfect.
With an really eagle.
Funny. Yeah.
With a bald eagle.
With Alex, because he's a dick.
Alex, will you please send me that?
That's great.
Alex,
that's going to be the cover photo for this podcast, this episode on YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, you have to piss with the cock you got, right? So, if all you have is a 20 gauge, then that's what you have to do, right? That's what you need to that's what you need to run with.
Yeah.
I
agree.
But if you have time, right? If you can, if you have a little bit to invest in, picking up, that shotgun or whatever. Here's the thing, right? Shotgun stocks for popular shotguns are dirt cheap.
Oh fuck! I'm not muted.
No, you're not, kid. You're not muted.
Yeah. So anyway, shotgun stocks for stock shotguns for popular shotguns are dirt cheap, right? So you can pick up a stock for less than $30-$40 on like for a Mossberg 500 or something like that, and then you can cut that thing down. It's going to be ugly as sin, right? But a little bit of duct tape or a little bit of electrical tape and short stock or whatever it is, now you have everything that you need for as far as fitment goes. And there's a lot that you can do with less. It's going to take a little bit of trial and error.
Sure.
No, most definitely. I get that. All right. So besides caliber, so Zach says it has to be a 12. We may or may not agree.
What else does the gun be?
What else does the gun have to have?
In my opinion, no sling.
Functionally sound, no sling. Yeah.
No sling.
No sling.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times. So the shotgun I run all the time, 1301 with a sling.
With a sling on it.
With a sling
I
on
have
it.
a sling on it. But hang on. It's because I live in a farm. So Tom Gibbons, all these other people, they're like, hey, unless you're military or police, you shouldn't have a sling on it. What about farmers, mother butts?
Feather plucker.
What about farmers? I need a sling. I am constantly moving. I need a sling. But I've also been training a lot. And a lot of my students, I've actually had to unload my carry pistol because every time I mount the shotgun, it yanks my gun out of my appendix rig and throws it on the ground. It is dangerous. It snags on everything. You hit a doorknob, it's snagging on it. You hit anything, it's snagging on it. That's why I recommend for most people to not have a sling. But
yeah, don't run a sling.
How about I meet the middle on
not
this?
For home defense, at least.
Right. Have a sling because you need it for training. And yes,
sure.
You do need it for training. Because not all shotgun training is going to involve all the folding tables.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it should, but it ain't always going to have all the folding tables.
I agree. And have it as a backup, possibly.
I'm gonna be real with you. I like the sling on a home defense firearm because I like the ability to go hands free and call 911, screw with the alarm system, do something else, and come back to it. But I also learned to manage my slings a long time ago with Ranger bands and rubber bands and different tricks, so that the sling arrangement that I have on a shotgun is not going to get in the way or get caught on anything, because it's very much the same. Like you guys have seen the wrap technique I do on my AR rifles, where I run it around the back of the buttstock and then I put it up on the grip, then I tighten it up. So I can pick my AR rifle up and run the whole rifle while the sling is still attached to the gun and not just dangling in the breeze. I do a modified version of that on my shotguns so that I can still have a sling, but probably the event in question will not involve the sling, if that makes any
Right.
sense.
And I think as a point of clarification, the general public, general responsibly armed citizen, whatever, general home purpose user who's running shotguns, don't run a sling. But if you're going to train, right, if you're going to put in time, if you're actually going to learn how to use it properly, do it, man. There's nothing wrong with it. There are absolute benefits to that. But generally speaking, nah, just don't run a sling. It's going to get you in a lot of trouble. It's going to get you hung up.
Now, lastly, there's got to be, there has to be white light. There 100% has to be white light on the shotgun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
don't.
I know.
You talking about a flashlight on a shotgun?
There has to be. Yeah, there has to be.
I'm not saying there has to be, but I think it's a good idea too.
100% has to be. Just cause my show, my rules. Fuck off. He ain't got no flashlights on nothing. I guess it doesn't. I guess the sun never goes down on a farm.
Hold up.
Right.
I have my lights where I should have them, but that's just
except for your shotgun.
Yeah, except for your shotgun. Why shouldn't you have one on your shotgun?
I don't need it on my shotgun. It's a flamethrower, bro. I carry in all of my shotguns Dragon's Breath.
No, you don't.
Do you even own Dragon's Breath, Zach?
I will just whack, and I will light up the night, bro.
Okay.
Do you even own Dragon's Breath, Zach?
No,
do you?
No, because I shot it all, Frank.
The last
I don't anymore. It's gone.
I do. It's literally on top of my fridge right now.
Yeah. Screw less lethal. Zach's going ultra lethal.
Ultra lethal.
Yeah, dude.
You're going to be on fire.
I'm going to dump gas on people and be like, hey, guess what?
It is going to hurt the entire time you're dying.
The entire time you're dying. Oh, man. Yeah, you need a light. You need a light on a home defense long gun. That's just I can't get through not having a light on a home defense.
I actually do have a light on there.
No, you don't. You're backpedaling now.
No, dude, no. I actually for the first time. Hey, so here's a thing that we haven't talked about. I have red dots on my shotguns, and I blew the first one out, and so I removed the light, which should go here, and there's nothing there because I finally broke my first red dot on a shotgun, and I have to send it back.
Why did you have to remove the light? Because you broke the red dot?
Because I wanted to remove everything from the shotgun that wasn't a part of the shotgun, other than the sling, because I wanted to get back to the basics, because I'm testing things. I am trying new things. I have been testing a dot on a shotgun, and I'm trying new things. So I blew out a Hollow Sun 507C and broke it. And it wasn't because of beating it to the way it could be. But it stopped working. So I've got to contact Hollow Sun and figure that out. But
no,
I don't know if you should put a Hollow Sun 507C on a shotgun right now. So still in the works. Still trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, I also enjoy running, a dot on shotgun, but I also like having the quick release mounts so that I can literally say, fuck this thing, it's going away. Right. I'm
leaning towards that now.
That's my thing. I don't like the mounts that are where you have to have like a toolkit to remove a dot on a shotgun. Because think about it, there is a lot of recoil, right? And that's some pretty heavy damage on a dot or something like that. So I like running like the rifle mounted optics, like the MRO or something like that. Something that can handle a little bit more of that recoil. But in the event it does go down, like you saw it's just a little lever. You pop that lever and pull the whole thing off, get rid of it, and then you still have your irons or your ghost ring or whatever you can still do work with it.
See, I didn't have a flush mount on this thing, and it went down, and then I was guessing, and I shot in front of a student, and I missed 2 steel plates, and I was like, poof. Well, I've got to aim like a foot lower than what I think.
So because I'll be honest. The reason why I ended up going away from having like the flush mount red dots was because I am notorious on like the long guns I don't regularly access about forgetting the stupid battery. Like, I have an alarm set in my phone for my concealed carry, right? For the guns that I'm regularly accessing. But for those other guns that I don't regularly touch or that I'm not regularly accessing for whatever reason, I
just me and you.
Never remember. I know, right? Yeah, we got
Kent's gone. Here we go, Frank.
Welcome to the Apache takeover of the Sling'N podcast. No, but I do prefer having something that I can remove that optic quickly and get rid of it if I had to. Sure. It's just it's point of preference at that point. Usually those optics are a little bit bigger, right? They're a little bulkier. It's nicer having a pistol size optic on a shotgun or something like that. But that's just for me and the way that I run my gun. That's my preference.
No, I agree. Well, welcome to Sling'N Lead Apache right now, everyone.
Let's see.
What are we talking about now? What's the next one?
I had to pee. I'm back.
He was committing a felony. That's what he was doing.
Over, bro. No, it's ours. Go ahead. Bye.
Committing a felony.
Talking about bringing back the old Star Trek tasers. That's what it'll happen. You'll be like mid stroke, and all of a sudden you're like just stuck there. Can't do nothing.
No. Oh no. Oh, that would not be good. All right, so one last little quick bonus round, and then we're gonna wrap this one up. So behind Zach to his right is one of them. What are those things called? TAC 14s or Mossberg Remington TAC 14, Mossberg what? Shockwave. That's it. Is that a Shockwave or a TAC 14?
It's TAC 14.
This is TAC 14. Mossberg is the Shockwave. Remington's TAC 14.
Okay, so
bird's head. Here's
what I'm thinking of doing. Yeah, okay.
No balls. You won't do it.
No, I'm telling you, that's how people are training this nowadays, and I can't get used to it.
Yeah, Rhett Newmeyer and a gang. Anyway,
I can't do it, man.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking of getting me one of them and putting a little pistol light on it. And I'm thinking of buying one in 410.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, listen to
Why
Zach.
410?
Only
Frank,
because
doing the same thing. Don't you say look at Zach.
Only because I had
Why
a
don't you
student.
Just get a judge.
I was about to say the same thing.
Wait.
Just get a judge, bro.
Wait. I have one. That's why I have all this ammo for it. I had a student who actually showed up for pistol. Classes, and he showed up with a judge, right? And I told him I would buy it off him on the spot if he promised never to ever train with it again, and we got him a real gun, right? But he had all this 410.
He was showing up for a pistol class.
All the 410.
It wasn't a shotgun class.
So why?
Well, because I have all this ammo. What else am I going to do with 410?
Shoot it with friends. That's about it.
Yeah, but out of what? I don't have
I'll bring my 410s and the judge.
I can't shoot a Taurus judge. Every time I try, I've literally been like, nah, it's okay. And I'm just like, I can't do it.
But you're thinking about getting a
Is that any less bad?
I guess that's why Alex and I aren't friends. He said if you own a judge, you don't have friends. I don't have friends.
Right.
I have a judge.
This is what I'm saying.
I guess we're friends, Frank. I guess
we are.
Is it okay for me to have a judge? Can I have a judge?
No.
If I can have
judge,
a judge,
that's what we need to do. We need next time we're all together, which is probably going to be November. We need to have a little judge party.
Okay, then I'm keeping my judge. Just for that. Never mind.
We do need to have a judge party. We do need to have a judge.
Okay, I'll have a judge party. Hey, I'll take that whole class with a judge.
Oh, don't do that.
Why not?
That's going to be a rough class to take with a judge.
No.
Don't do that.
It'll be fine. I got a 100 on a B8 with one trigger press. Looky there.
More like a 36.
Yeah, good.
I love it.
I think, judge party does sound vaguely sexual. I think we should have a judge party.
I'm game.
All right.
This is now happening.
Yeah. This is now happening.
Yep. There's
We need to come up with some.
I remember. Now we're talking about the judge. So Tim and I went and got a judge so that we could shoot a car with it for a ballistics demo. The only thing the judge did, right, shooting the 410 ammo, was dent the fender. Wouldn't go through the panel at all. We were literally like a foot from it, just shooting right into it. Because we had a student that was talking about they bought a judge so that they could, literally push it up against the door, press the trigger, and it would go through the door. That was the idea. We're like, okay, let's test it out. So we, just like all post classes, ballistics and whatever, we went ahead and we had a car out on the the range, and we from the outside shooting out into the car. We wanted to see if it would even have any pass through. And if it had passed through, we're like, okay, well, maybe we'll test it inside the car, like if it all looks safe. Well, when all it did was just dent in the panel, it didn't even there was no pass through. We were like, yeah, I don't want lead in me, so I'm gonna not sit in the car and test that out. Well, we're just gonna say no to this. This is bunk,
dude. Rob Pincus put out the PDX-1 ammo and shot the dog snot out of some pumpkins with that thing.
Yeah. And
having been raped by a pumpkin previously, I will tell you, I don't want that experience again. And I'm happy to have my judge.
Yeah. I'm very familiar with Rob Pincus.
I know. He's your nephew or something, ain't he?
Yeah, it's my dad's foster brother. So foster, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Anyway. Well, I guess I don't get to have my shockwave with 410 shockwave with.
I mean, I think John said it best. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. But I have one of those guns too. I literally got clicked on my manhood because I brought it to a range master instructor class and shot it for grade, and did not make Tim happy. So you know what? YOLO.
Yeah.
YOLO.
YOLO indeed. All right. Well, so lastly, I guess I should probably just come clean with this whole thing. All I'm really doing is market research because I'm intending to release a shotgun class before the end of the year. I'm going to teach a group shotgun class up here in Pennsylvania before the end of the year. And it's going to be awesome. So I'm just trying to gauge interest. See what kind of patterns we get.
I am pumped.
Oh, you're pumped. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys should slug that like button and see if
y'all can make me choke.
Yeah, that's great. I'm just gonna sling it out there and see who's interested. Okay, did I break it?
I'm done. I was gonna say something, but then y'all are both gonna be like, "Oh, that's enough, Zach. You should shut up now." But
wouldn't want to go off half cocked. Anyway, so here one of these times coming up is gonna be an announcement on a Green Mountain Defense shotgun class. So that's gonna be really cool. Meanwhile, the Apache folks, somebody took the Indians' arrows away and gave them shotguns, and them boys are down there teaching shotgun stuff. Mr. Zach has done his first of 4 workshops on the gauge. He successfully did that and sold it out. His second one isn't quite sold out yet, but I believe he's well on his way to getting that thing moving. So if you go to www.apacheNC.com, you can follow the link to the Eventbrite, and from the Eventbrite, you can find the workshops. And
end of this month, I think, September 24th.
September 24th.
So go down there and go see Zach, and then you'll get to see Frank AI and Forum. So that's really cool. Those guys are doing good work, and students are enjoying themselves. And I also understand that Rangemaster just came out with a advanced shotgun instructor class.
They did, yep.
For the firearms trainers cult of mastery or more advanced year pistol craftier master instructor.
Dude,
master guys.
I will sell him my left nut. I don't care. He can have it. I will.
Nah, man, listen. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's good that he's putting it out. But
so I'm super excited also about John Willis because he's doing some cool stuff at Gunset. But we're doing SimTac coming up, and then we're also doing Tom Gibbons class. But
where are you guys doing the hot class SimTac?
Ohio, but it's like on the border of Ohio and West Virginia. What are you doing? Sign up.
The fuck, bro?
Sign up.
Where? Did not know. No, does.
When is it, Willis? It's the end of this month.
I'm an hour and 40 minutes from the border of
Martins Ferry, Ohio.
I know right where that is.
I don't either. It's like 6 hours
at a wedding. I think we had already discussed this.
Either way.
Yeah, well, nobody discussed it with me.
I'll tell you about it. We can talk
Martins
later.
Ferry,
September
Ohio.
30th, October 1st. So it won't be a wedding.
Yeah.
I cannot make that.
Good Lord, that's coming up fast, Willis.
That's right by Wheeling, West Virginia.
Bougie.
That is 3 hours.
Hotel.
That's 3 hours away from me. That's right on the border of PA. I can get
Let's
there.
go.
When is that
Sign up.
September
30th, October 1st. We'll talk after we.
Never mind. I'm hosting Apache.
Oh, screw
That's
that.
why I can't go.
Screw Apache.
I'm teaching a concealed carry class that on I think 30th.
Screw that too.
No, I got to be up here for the 3 Apache workshops. Apache Solutions is teaching 3 workshops up here at West Shore that very weekend, September 30th, October 1st weekend. Again, ApacheNC.com if you still want to sign up for those. We got Do It in the Dark. We got Advancing EDC. We got Retracting EDC. We got EDCing, Advanced Retractings. I don't know. We're EDCing. We're doing it in the dark. We're perfecting pistol skills with Apache. Again, ApacheNC.com. Follow those links. Let's see what other classes we got coming up. We got Handgun Fundamentals at Hummelstown Fish and Game in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. 2 days on. If you've never touched a handgun before, Kent and Hirsch and Justin will show you how. That's going to be a fun little weekend on a beautiful indoor range. Dude, I've been talking shit. I've been saying that West Shore Sportsman's has the best indoor range in the state of Pennsylvania, and I was wrong. I just hadn't found this place yet. Gorgeous indoor range. Good Lord. So that's pretty cool. We're excited to be teaching out there. And, yeah. What do you guys got to plug or coming up or anything like that?
You nailed the hit. You did all the plugging I think you needed to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Frank's dead. All right, Frank died.
Frank had a stroke.
Frank had a stroke.
Frank had a stroke.
That's fun.
We'll see him
My
later.
arm feels numb.
What about you, Zach? You got any plugs?
No, man. Thanks for letting us be on here and talk about shotguns. We need to do it again, and I think we need to dive further. into the gauge and really get into the nitty gritty.
Oh, we could easily do.
It was a start, man. We had fun.
It's a start. We need to do a few more of these, and we'll commit to do that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll
awesome.
do all the ad reads. Holy crap, TJ! No wonder you have a stroke when you do this. www.greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate-links. If you're gonna buy gun stuff, you might as well buy it anyway. Pay no additional or no less money, but at least you help your friends, the Sling'N Led Podcast and GMD. You have awesome sponsors or awesome affiliates such as Primary Arms and a bunch of other people whose names I don't feel like reading. www.greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate-links. If you're into cool t-shirts, we got the Teespring store, Sling'N Led Podcast-creator.spring.com. This is all in the description anyway for you to be able to read. Our buddy Cam is still fighting a good fight. He's just legless these days. He's got one less leg than he should, and he needs a leg up. So please go help Cam. Make sure you hit up his t-shirt. The Cam's Ass Kicking Contest is and forever will be in the bottom of that left-hand corner of the screen. So you can go grab that cool shirt and a bunch of awesome other Green Mountain Defense killer t-shirts that are always donated to charitable causes, such as the new Zach Kills Bald Eagles t-shirt that TJ is absolutely on as I type this, because that's for sure fucking happening. For goddamn sure happening. The Cox Farm Eagle Killer shirt will be on the website and the Teespring creator and all that good stuff.
I'll buy all of them.
Dude, Fishing Game's going to show up at his house and just raid him.
No, I know Kyle and Eric very well.
He's their first name basis with the keyboard. That's always a good sign. Oh, God. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, Green Mountain Defense, and to the Sling'N Led Podcast. Check out greenmountaindefense.com/training for all your training needs. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you have questions or comments, please fill them in below. All firearms are checked and cleared. Oh, it says don't read this right above the part that I'm reading. That's fucking phenomenal. Anyway, I'm not TJ. I'm for damn sure Kent. This has been Green Mountain Defense, Sling'N Led Podcast, and Apache Solutions doing our best job to replicate his awesomeness. Thanks so much, Frank, for being on the show with us this evening. We really appreciate your help. And Mr. Zach, we always appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for being so giving with your time. As always, take care of each other. Get out and shoot. God bless. We love yous. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Amen.
Don't know how to stop it.
Game,